Module Overview. This final module brings the entire course to a crescendo by linking constitutional law and civil rights to the enduring survival and advancement of constitutional democracy. It provides an in-depth understanding of how constitutionalism is not merely a legal structure, but a living, breathing framework that relies on civic participation, public accountability, and continuous social transformation to remain resilient. 1. Foundations of constitutional democracy. Definition and core features. Constitutional democracy is a system of government based on popular sovereignty, rule of law, separation of powers, and guaranteed rights. Key elements include free and fair elections, checks and balances, accountability, and an independent judiciary. Constitutional law as the framework for democratic governance. The Constitution defines governmental powers and limits. Rights enshrined in the Constitution are vital for maintaining political freedom, tolerance, and inclusivity. 2. Civic participation, the lifeblood of democracy. Definition and scope. Civic participation involves active engagement by citizens in democratic processes, including voting, advocacy, dialogue, protest, and community service. Forms of participation. Formal, voting, running for office, engaging in public consultations. Informal, attending town halls, grassroots movements, online activism, whistleblowing. Legal and constitutional protections for participation, freedom of speech, assembly, and association, right to information, protection of electoral rights, and access to justice. The role of the Constitution in enabling participation ensures minority rights are protected, guarantees inclusive processes for constitutional amendments, establishes frameworks for public accountability, e.g., ombudsman, referenda. 3. The state, the people, and the democratic social contract. Social contract theory. Citizens consent to be governed in exchange for protection of rights and promotion of welfare. Mutual obligations. The state must remain accountable and respect constitutional limits. Citizens must obey the law, engage in civic duties, and challenge injustice. Breakdown of the contract occurs when power becomes concentrated, corruption thrives, and rights are undermined. Can lead to democratic erosion, civil unrest, or authoritarian resurgence. 4. Threats to constitutionalism and civil rights. Authoritarian populism and democratic backsliding. Rise of leaders who concentrate power, undermine checks and balances, and silence dissent. Manipulation of constitutions, executive amendments to eliminate term limits, extend immunity, or weaken institutions. Disinformation and digital surveillance, technology used to manipulate public opinion, surveil citizens, and suppress opposition. Political apathy and disengagement. Citizens' disillusionment leads to low participation, enabling abuse of power. Violations by non-state actors, extremist groups, corporations, and private security forces threatening rights without accountability. 5. Strengthening constitutional democracy. Constitutional reform and renewal. Periodic review and reform processes must be inclusive and transparent. Empowering civil society, NGOs, media, academia, and advocacy groups must be protected and supported. Promoting civic education. Knowledge of rights and responsibilities should be taught across all levels. Strengthening rule of law institutions. Judiciary, legislature, and anti-corruption bodies must be well-resourced, independent, and transparent. 6. The future of civil rights in the 21st century. Digital rights and cyber liberties. The right to privacy, data protection, freedom from algorithmic bias. regulation of AI, digital surveillance, and big data, environmental and climate justice as constitutional rights, emerging trend of recognizing the right to a healthy environment as a fundamental right, intersectional rights advocacy, recognizing how race, gender, class, disability, and sexual orientation intersect in rights discourse, transnational and global governance of rights, role of international courts and human rights treaties in shaping national constitutions, constitutionalizing new frontiers, rights for future generations, animals, and indigenous peoples, new constitutions emerging from post-conflict societies. Learning outcomes for Module 10. By the end of this module, you should be able to explain the connection between constitutional law, democracy, and civil rights. Identify various forms and significance of civic participation. Analyze the threats facing constitutionalism in modern states. Assess the role of legal reforms and civic actors in safeguarding democratic governance. Explore emerging and future trends in rights protection globally. Propose measures to strengthen constitutional democracy in their local and national contexts.